Hello and welcome to another glorious read. I am your host, Ashton Sage. Let's get into it. First of all, I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope it went smoothly for all those who celebrate it. I do know now Christmas is coming, and of course, you gotta pick out the perfect gift for somebody special. I know that I still got gifts that I need to do and make and wrap, but I'm pretty much done Christmas shopping, so that's a bonus. So this podcast is gonna be just a one book review because that is all I was able to fit in with the feral child being out of school, and yeah, it's just a mix. It's hard to get things done sometimes. So this actually book review was what I left off last time as the Ruthless Savage. That was the age gap mafia Irish mob boss kind of story with the bodyguard. The book definitely did not turn out like I thought it was going to be. Um, but it didn't disappoint. I was hoping for more the dark romance kind of play on it, but it didn't work out that way. I mean, there was some, killing and some decapitation of limbs in the book, but it wasn't like a him torturing kind of the love out of her kind of thing, like you would see in a dark romance, or like the last one I read, The Hunted, where he was actually planning on killing her, but he fell in love with her, and all that stuff. So this book, like I said, it was an age gap. She's 18, he's 35. But the way I read it, I couldn't imagine him more than like 28, 30, just because of how he acted. But it was a lot of denial. Like, he was definitely denying his feelings because of the age gap, because of who her father was and who's after him. And of course, our main character, the female character, Eru, who is the 18-year-old, she's been in love with him for a while, and she's very driven to get to him. So the book starts off with him in jail. His name is Devlin, and he basically goes to jail because of something that I'm not quite sure. I might have missed it in the book. Something that he did to protect her, I guess was the right word to put it. I'm not quite sure. She like drugged him or something and slipped out, and of course something happened. And of course, while he was in jail, she gets kidnapped and rescued, and it was just a whole fiasco. Now he's like, I am permanently going to be your bodyguard, where originally in jail he was like, I'm not going to be your bodyguard anymore, because if I distance myself from her, then she's less in danger, other than she being a mob boss's daughter. So like I said, the story keeps going. After that whole fiasco, she ends up switching colleges and stuff, and of course Devlin goes with her. Well, she makes a couple friends, and one name is Karen, I believe, or it's Kathy, Karen, one of the two. Sometimes my memory is not the greatest, but I remember the name starts with a K. She basically tries to get Eru to seduce her bodyguard. She says that the bodyguard's hot and all this stuff, and that how he's going to take her virginity because this woman is a virgin, and she's like always fantasizes about being with her bodyguard. And of course, he, being very protective of her, hears all this stuff because he's got her place bugged. I'm like, okay, stepping boundaries, but I get it. Your bodyguard, you got to make sure that she's safe. Blah blah blah. So they're constantly going to like frat parties and stuff like that to dress her up and get her seducting of him. Of course, he's one step ahead of her, which makes sense. But as this is also going on, you hear a little bit about Devlin's past, about how he believes he got his brother killed because of the crew that he ran with in California when he first moved from Ireland. Of course, his parents, as you call it, abandoned him and basically disowned him. saying that he was going to be the reason why his brother gets killed. And, of course, his brother dies. And it dies right in front of him. He's forced to bury him on the old gangs or mob's land. And, of course, they were planning on killing Devlin before he got reinforcements. All because he ratted him out to the FBI. And then the FBI kind of made him a deal he couldn't refuse, where it was like, either your brother goes to federal prison for drug dealing, or you help us get into this gang. Of course, snitches get stitches kind of deal. He gets ratted out, and then his life gets put on the line. After that, he moves to Boston. He meets up with the Quinn family, who is Eru and her father, Patrick's family. They accept him in, and basically, as the story goes on, it's a lot of him trying to avoid her and her trying to nab him, what seems to be very common. He's very protective of her. He is a lot of you touch her, you die kind of thing. What I do love a very protective man, stuff like that. So, as the story goes on, you hear about one of the friends of Karen, who is friends with Eru, gets tickets, or not tickets, but memberships for them to go to a masquerade, basically adult party. As adult party, I mean is anybody can sleep with anybody. They can have whatever affair. There's virgin auctions and stuff. And Eru's not even sure why she's even there. She went along to see what it was like, but yet she's doubting it because she feels like she's cheating on Devlin, even though they're not together. Devlin finds out. He goes. They find out that this place is run by the Russian mafia. They know who she is, or the owner does, and so of course Devlin caused problems, and he goes thanks to the mob boss that runs it, and Devlin starts to realize that in this clubby place, the mask really gives you more bolded feelings. As Eru was watching this couple foreplay and go at it, of course Devlin sneaks up behind her and starts touching her, and she's like, oh, did you mean to touch me? And he's like, well, I can't speak because she'll know my voice, blah blah blah. And he basically just nods and grunts and stuff like that, and he basically touches her seductively, and she enjoys it, but she feels like she's cheating on Devlin, even though it is Devlin and they don't know it. Of course, this place becomes a real problem because she doesn't just return once, she returns twice. Of course, Devlin's there again and does the same act. But it's also, now she's getting threat letters that he's pretty sure belongs to the gang that he was part of. Even to the point where her car blows up and Devlin gets hurt and he's in this hospital and stuff. And he has to come clean with her father saying, hey, I was in this mob, I betrayed them, and now they're after me. And Eru is probably best not to be with me, kind of thing. And of course the mob boss is like, well, are you going to betray me? And he's like, because you're like family and that would hurt more. And basically it's a no situation. Also, why this is all going on in this whole confusing fiasco of Devlin trying to avoid Eru trying to get him, this whole sex club place, and them trying to figure out why this gang is. Eru is promised an arranged marriage with this guy named Mason, who's part of another mafia kind of thing. So it's a whole intertwined thing, and of course her brothers and sister is not pretty bad with it. The father's like, well, we gotta make deals, I gotta get everything in place before I retire, and blah blah blah. Of course Devlin's not happy about that either, and there's a whole situation where Mason's tied into this gang, and this gang knows about Eru, and Eru is actually being played by somebody else. She's also trying to follow a writing career that her father does not approve of. So it's this whole bunch of story, like a day-to-day life, but with the mafia. So they're kind of like trying to not get involved, but they're trying to get involved. There's a situation that happens where Mason tells Eru if she stays a virgin, he's gonna marry her, but if not, then he's gonna write her off as a untouchable, basically, and he's gonna run her name through the mud. Well, she comes up with this horrible idea, and of course, Catherine condoles it, that she's gonna go auction off her virginity, and of course, this hits well with Devlin. There's a Russian guy that buys her for $3 million. And of course, Devlin shoots him and causes a problem. And then there's this thing that's really horrible. I feel bad for her. I couldn't imagine the situation where the owner of the club gives them the opportunity to redeem themselves. It's either death by a bullet or very horrible death, or they perform in front of everybody. And as you can manage this type of club, you can understand what type of performing that is. Devlin has to bite the bullet, and she is mortified by it because she keeps thinking, oh my god, her father is going to find out. And she's also very upset because she found out the masked man who has been touching her in the club is Devlin himself. And of course, Devlin bites back a little bit, going, why are you letting a stranger touch you? So there's that little quick kind of thing where she's snobby and sassy and bratty, being like, well, why didn't you tell me it was you? And he's like, well, why are you letting a stranger touch you, kind of thing. Yeah, it's very back and forth a little bit. It does come down to Devlin going to her father and being like, I have feelings for your daughter, blah blah blah, I want her to marry her instead. And he's like waiting for her father to backlash. And it turns out that he's like, oh, finally, you're finally smarting up, about time, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, poor Devlin. He's like, wait, you knew this whole time? And he's like, I'm not as blind as you think I am. Of course I know. And then, of course, she's like, wait, my father knew this time? Yeah. Everybody's like, wait, Dad knew? So it's kind of funny how that works. They do have a surprise wedding. They do get married. That gang does come back for Devlin and puts Quinn in a very bad situation. Unfortunately, that situation involves her losing trust in two of her main characters that she loves dearly, and the death of her best friend. I'm not going to go into detail why her friend dies. I will let you speculate until you read the book. I am starting the second book, what is supposed to be about Eru's brother, who's supposed to take charge of the family and the mafia over their father, but his father is pushing marriage. Apparently this guy is going on 40. He has adopted his cousin's son, who his cousin tragically dies, and his mother committed suicide. What I feel really bad because the boy he found her. So there's also a situation where he kind of is very attracted to his nephew's or cousin's teacher. Of course, the cousin or this little boy who doesn't speak, his name is Brody, and Brody doesn't speak or anything else. So he's kind of wondering who this teacher is, and so far the book starts off with her basically on the run, kind of like how Devlin was on the run in the first book. I'm hoping this book maybe go towards the dark romance. I don't know, but I will definitely let you guys know as soon as I read it. That book is called Ruthless Savage by also Lilian Harris. Like I said, check out Ruthless Savage. That one book wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. Like I said, I thought it was going more towards the dark romance kind of thing, but it definitely didn't. Like I said, there is shooting, there is mutilation and stuff like that, and of course, the dark thoughts that go through people's heads. I do have to say that I'm hoping more for the Brutal Savage. Okay. So anyway, the review that I would give it is I gave it a 4.5 stars, 5 stars, in that range. The story was good. if you can keep up with it. I had no problem. Um, Definitely have to say Devlin is my favorite character in the book. And my reason why is not just because he is overprotective and stuff like that. It's the fact that he is constantly thinking about her and her safety and how he is actually trying to protect not just her, but the family. And kind of how he is trying to punish himself for what happened to his brother, and that how he thinks he's not worthy of love, only to find out he is. So it's definitely a character building where he is, thinking he's doing the right thing, but he's also character building to where he goes, I deserve more. He's like, I do things and do sacrifice things. And he goes, and he grows more. And of course, it takes Arrow to realize that, and the other family, and even Patrick, who is Arrow's father, goes, welcome to the family, son. Like, you are like a son to me anyway, so why not? So I do like that. Spice level, there was parts that made me go, oh my. But I think it was more out of embarrassment, oh my's. Like the whole clubby place. I'm like, I was not expecting that. Or the performance. I was not expecting that either. I did find this book on social media. I think I found it on Facebook. I think it popped up in my feeds, and I read the little section on it. What made me read it? Definitely, there's a lot of side characters. I do like Aru's sister. She's a little spitfire. She is an assassin, and her temper is so funny. And you'll hear Devlin call her up and be like, "Hey, I need this," or she'll be like, "What do you want? Aren't you supposed to be with my sister?" Kind of thing. So she's a little spitfire too. Aru is cute. She's maybe too cute for this book because she was raised innocent through most of the book. Like, you hear about it because she's not involved in the little sister kind of deal. She's not part of the mafia, but she is. Like, she's the princess. She was raised to work on the farm kind of thing, milk goats, read, write, that kind of deal. Not so much the here, this guy needs to be killed off kind of thing, or this guy owes money, go teach him a lesson kind of thing. So, yeah, this book was definitely good. I don't know exactly how to felt at it at first. Like I said, I was getting into it and I was like, whoa, this jumps a lot. And then finally the story flows. So, definitely recommend. Maybe it's a good stocking stuffer for someone, or, for yourself. I am still working on my other books. So, like I said, I left off with the Daniel's Aries, talking about that a little bit. I am working hopefully on the cover soon, and I'm going through it again just to add a little bit more detail between the. I do also apologize for my audio. For some reason, it keeps cutting in and out if it is hard to hear me. I do hope that everybody does have a wonderful day. I am cutting this short, so like I said, I hope you guys enjoy your day. Go do something nice. Take a hike, because they say a walk is good for the mental health. And sometimes when you're walking by yourself, your mind is more clear and you're able to process things, especially if you're a creator like myself. Sometimes I'll look at something and it just, I'm not going to lie, I've taken many hikes and my mind, while I'm hiking, goes to my books and I'm like, oh, and then, I make up the story as I go. I've done that multiple times while I've been at my old job too, when I used to work, and how I used to create things and then talk to my coworkers about the stories and how they used to love it all the time and how much they're like, oh, that's wonderful. Are you sure this is a, book you're writing, not a movie you read? Yes. Like I said, enjoy your day. Do something nice for yourself. Maybe an act of kindness to make yourself feel better. And just take some time for yourself, really. And I hope everybody just has a wonderful day. And thank you for listening and supporting my podcast. And I will catch you next week. Thank you and bye-bye.